Pearl Harbor will go down in history as a day that shook America's confidence, but also a time that made our nation stronger. One local couple proves even a horrific attack can't shake the passion for their country and love for one another. If you've ever wondered what it takes to make a marriage successful,
let her make most of the decisions.
Just ask Warren and Betty Schott. After all, they know a thing or two about it. They've been married 73 years.
And we were married in a cemetery, Forest Lawn Memorial Park, and spent our honeymoon in Death Valley.
That's how we started off.
They met through a mutual friend on the 4th of July. The year was 1936.
She said, "Oh, tomorrow's the 4th and we've planned a picnic. Hope you don't mind, but I set you up with the date." He said, "Don't do me any favors. I've just gotten rid of one girl."
Yeah.
Their romance was one out of the movies. They fell in love, married 2 years later, and soon after, Betty followed her new husband to his new base in Hawaii.
I can't remember how long I was in Pearl Harbor before Bet came.
2 months.
Was it that close?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and you brought the car also.
And I brought the car.
Yeah.
And I don't know who he was the happiest to see, the car or me.
Warren was in the Navy, stationed at Ford Island, just a few miles from Pearl Harbor Naval Base. The newlyweds were eager to explore their new life together and soaked up every minute of it.
We took trips every chance that I could get away from the island. It was enjoyable.
But we had Hawaii when it was paradise.
But their life of paradise didn't last long. It was a lazy December morning in 1941. Betty had just woken up and looked out her window.
She says, "Oh, there's a lot of smoke and fire down." And I said, "No, there can't be."
Warren ran to the window and saw a Japanese fighter plane diving toward the island.
Here were these big red balls. And I yelled into her, I said, "That's a Japanese airplane. We're at war."
Warren and Betty had to act fast. They immediately took other families in their complex to safety.
As we were going, here's a plane coming in, and it was low enough that we could see the chap in the after cockpit with the machine gun.
There was so much shrapnel from our guns shooting at them and such. It was just like rain coming down, pieces of metal. It was beginning to sink in that we were in bad trouble.
While Warren went out to help his fellow sailors, Betty went to work in the supply building.
I filled fire extinguishers and unloaded guns and did that sort of thing. Wherever they needed us, they gave us big boots to put on.
When the attack was over, most families were told to leave the island.
I did not see any other woman on base after that. Everyone evacuated.
But Betty stayed by Warren's side.
It was a comfort to know that we had each other.
The two stayed at Ford Island for several months after the attack, then were stationed at a new base in Virginia. It was a long journey home for Betty.
Seasick coming home on the ship. Then this business of being nauseous didn't go away, and I was pregnant.
Pregnant. I was pleased because I thought, well, if I don't come back from this business, at least she'll have somebody.
And I still do.
You stepped out of a dream.
2 children and 73 years later, Warren and Betty look back on their memories and their marriage. Pearl Harbor was a day that shook America, but it also brought this couple closer.
We know each other so well that we can finish sentences or we can interrupt without being mad at each other. Or
So what's their secret to a lasting marriage?
Patience. And being a good friend.
And of course, letting the wife make the decisions.
He has. And I hope I've made pretty good ones. Because he's still here.
We're not hugging and kissing all the time, but she's mine.
Warren and Betty will celebrate their 74th wedding anniversary this spring. They tell me they love each other even more today than they did 70 years ago. Reporting in the studio, Ashley Korsland, KREM 2 News.